In the vast, dark depths of the ocean, experienced diver Carter made a discovery that would haunt him for years to come. During a routine dive, he came across the eerie sight of a sunken submarine, its rusted hull a stark contrast against the deep blue sea. Swimming in there surely was no easy feat. He had to make sure to take every safety precaution there was. He would be going into what seemed like an abandoned submarine, especially since Carter was diving alone. If something went wrong, he wouldn't know if anyone could help him on time. Because of that, he constantly checked the oxygen and pressure levels surrounding him. After checking the closed perimeter and noticing the small opening in the hull, going through the breach would be the more dangerous option. However, could he even go through the original entrance? He had to swim around for that. Still, he thought that he needed to try. Carter quickly made his way to the top of the submarine. He knew that the only way he could open the top hatch would be if there were no differences in the inside and outside pressure. He felt like he was about to enter something dark and ominous. Opening the hatch, he had been holding his breath, and when being underwater, holding one's breath was never a good idea. He had slowly gone in, using his flashlight to get a better grip on what he saw, as he would soon get the scare of his life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming stories. Carter had never been inside a submarine before, so going inside one completely submerged was especially daunting. He had driven inside a shipwreck before, but that wasn't as narrow as this. As he went in, he could see coral and various fishes who had made their way in through the rupture in the hull. Though he had been thinking about it, he never could have guessed it would look like this. Luckily for Carter, the submarine's staff had already been decomposed, but skeletons still lingered in the enclosed space. Though he didn't know exactly how a submarine worked, it seemed as if he had arrived at the place that he would deem to be its cockpit. There was a lot of machinery, and he noticed a small light protruding from the darkness. As he neared it, he saw what it was. He couldn't understand how this had happened. How was this still able to function? Carter was sure to take pictures of the control room and the sonar system. If he didn't, no one would believe him. Looking at the barometer of his tank, he noticed he was no longer in the white. He didn't have that much oxygen left, and with the time he needed to have decompression stops, he would only have minutes to spare. He quickly made his way out of the submarine. It wasn't too long before Carter broke the water. Getting on his boat, he spat out his regulator, taking in a fresh breath. His best friend Matthew nearly ran toward him. Matthew looked at his watch and had a look of bewilderment on his face. Carter knew he had been under for way too long, especially since he could see the depths that he had gone to. "I'm fine, Matt. I made sure to decompress on the way up." Carter gave him a smile, and Matthew raised his eyebrow in reply. "Did you find what you were looking for?" "No. But I've found something way better." Carter started to talk about what he had seen. It hadn't been the reason why he had gone down so far under the water, but Carter knew that he couldn't just go down again and research this by himself. He feared losing the exact coordinates if he left to get other people. So he told the Coast Guard what he found and let them know he had proof. That way, he was sure to get all the help he needed. Shortly after contacting the Coast Guard, Carter received a return call. The voice on the other end was laced with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. "We're sending a team to your location. Your discovery could be significant." Carter's heart raced with excitement and a hint of apprehension. He realized that his solitary dive had set in motion a series of events that would soon involve many more people. Within hours, Carter watched as a Coast Guard vessel approached, followed by a smaller boat filled with equipment. A team of diverse experts disembarked. Marine biologists, archaeologists, and seasoned divers, each carrying an air of determination and curiosity. Carter was introduced to them, his first-hand experience with the submarine, making him an invaluable member of this impromptu team, ready to guide them into the depths that held the mysterious submarine. On board the Coast Guard vessel, the team gathered for their first briefing. Maps were spread out, and Carter recounted his discovery in detail. The experts listened intently, every word read half discovered. As the meeting progressed, Carter shared his observations of the submarine's structure, the breach in its hull, and the interior corridors he had swum through. The team wrapped up their meeting with a plan of action. This dive would be different from any he had undertaken before. In the high-tech lab of the Coast Guard vessel, the blips and pings on the screen were alien to Carter but held a world of meaning to the experts. This wasn't just a routine recovery of a sunken submarine anymore. It was a deeper mystery calling to them from the ocean's depths. Theories began to fly. Carter listened, fascinated by the possibilities, but aware that only a return to the depths would provide answers. The mystery of the sonar reading was like a siren's call, luring them all towards an unknown discovery. Utilizing advanced mapping technology, the team began to sketch out a detailed plan of the area surrounding the submarine. The ocean floor was charted, revealing a terrain that was rugged and unexplored. Carter found himself in awe of the technology that transformed his rudimentary understanding of the dive site into a detailed topographic map. The sonar analysts concentrated on the unusual pattern that had appeared in the data. The room buzzed with excitement and a bit of apprehension. What could be creating such a pattern in this unexplored abyss? For hours of discussion and analysis, the team reached a consensus. They needed to investigate the mysterious sonar signal further. It could be a crucial piece of this puzzle, the lead Coast Guard officer declared. The team delved into the archives, unearthing the submarine's past. It was a World War II-era vessel, reported missing under mysterious circumstances. The team's focus shifted to the dive safety protocols. Given the depth and hazards within the submarine, every possible scenario was discussed. The team was equipped with an array of advanced diving gear. This was it. They were ready to uncover the secrets of the deep-sea enigma. The ocean was a gradient of blue, darkening as Carter led the team downwards. The pressure gauges ticked in rhythm with their steady descent. Below them, the shadow of the submarine emerged from the gloom. Approaching the submarine, the team split into their designated groups. Carter's group, tasked with exploring the interior, approached the breach in the hull. Carter led the way, his light cutting through the darkness, revealing the submarine's skeletal remains. Once inside, the submarine's corridors presented a labyrinth of shadows and decay. The adrenaline surged as they navigated through the tight spaces. Inside the room, the walls were lined with maps and documents, and the documents contained coded messages and orders. The documents and maps were carefully laid out to dry, revealing more details under the bright lights of the lab. Slowly, the gibberish began to transform into coherent messages. One of the most intriguing finds was a log entry referring to a specific set of coordinates, which matched the location of the unexplained sonar signal Carter had initially discovered. This connection suggested that the submarine had been either tracking something or heading towards a specific target. The revelation about the sonar signal led to a unanimous decision. They needed to investigate the coordinates. There might be more to this story. Preparation for the second dive began immediately. This time the dive would be deeper and more challenging, pushing the limits of their equipment and expertise. The team would be using some of the most advanced underwater technology available. State-of-the-art sonar equipment, remotely operated vehicles, ROVs. The day of the dive arrived. As the vessel neared the coordinates, they were entering a part of the ocean few had ever seen. The sonar operator announced, his voice a mix of excitement and awe. The team prepared to dive. The structure was massive, far larger than they had anticipated. It was no mere debris. This was something substantial. It was undoubtedly a shipwreck. The vessel was old, its once mighty frame now a skeleton of rust and coral. The team worked meticulously to explore the shipwreck. Within the shipwreck, the team discovered a series of sealed containers. Upon opening them, they found an array of documents. Among the findings were detailed charts and communication logs that suggested the ship was on a clandestine mission, perhaps intertwined with the fate of the sunken submarine Carter had initially discovered. It was a story that intertwined the fates of the submarine and the ship, a story that had been waiting in the deep, silent and unseen, for decades. Carter felt a profound sense of awe and respect for the journey they had just undertaken. Back at the research lab, the team set about the meticulous task of interpreting the evidence. Historians, naval experts, and cryptologists worked side by side, unraveling the mysteries held within the documents and logs. The analysis of the submarine's sonar logs, in conjunction with the ship's documents, began to shed light on the connection between the two wrecks. It appeared that the submarine had been tracking the ship, possibly as part of a covert surveillance mission. The sonar logs matched the coordinates of the ship's last known position, suggesting a planned rendezvous or a pursuit that ended in the mutual demise of both vessels. The revelation offered a new understanding of the submarine's role and mission in the war. As the team continued to unravel the findings, it became clear that their discoveries were not just significant archaeological finds, but were also challenging the established historical narratives of wartime naval operations. In the quiet aftermath of the mission, Carter found himself reflecting on the adventure and its impact. From a routine dive to uncovering secrets of the past, the journey had been extraordinary. He thought about the men who had served on the submarine and the ship, their stories untold until now. Carter felt a profound connection to the past, a sense of responsibility to those who had remained silent at the bottom of the ocean. This adventure had changed him, deepening his respect for the mysteries and stories hidden within the depths of the sea.